this week and the week before, there's been a lot of conversations around AI and AI use in marketing, especially. And I had some thoughts about it. I posted on LinkedIn, and a lot of people uh, interacted with it. So we thought that, especially since we're both users of AI, I thought it would be a good idea to share our insights. And of course, as SEO specialists, we know that trending topics also help with reach. So we thought that Chris could show us some of his processes around AI and how we think about AI.
Yeah. Again, like, we're probably in the marketing echo chamber, hearing about AI as much as we are. Um, I think this is probably another tool that it's going to be easy for industrial manufacturers to sleep on. Like, I found an article about AI for manufacturing, and it was all about, like, the manufacturing process and production, and nothing like we've been talking about on the content side and marketing side. But at the end of the day, it's just another tool. And those that learn how to work and use the tool effectively will outpace those who do not. Um, there's definitely going to be a lot of shifts. Uh, we don't know where exactly, but a lot of admin activities, all the stuff that you think could be, you thought forever that could be automated by AI. Well, those are going to be the first things to go. Um, but there's lots of upside for those. There's human elements to a lot of the things that we do, and those that figure out how to use that piece with the AI effectively are going to, blast ahead. And we're already starting to see resumes, with AI capabilities, listed,
Prompt
not
engineers.
resumes, not resumes, but job descriptions, right?
Yeah.
They're going to start, just like you need CRM knowledge, you're going to need AI and LLM knowledge.
Yeah.
So I wanted to highlight, um, you know, AI right now is really all about like understanding when to use it and when not to use it. Um, and I know most websites, industrial and marketing and manufacturing, a big miss for them is having a knowledge base on the website. Even as simple as glossaries, um, short how to's. It doesn't have to be product specific. It doesn't have to be your business specific. Um, but I think this helps with the common problem of the curse of knowledge, right? Assuming that your buyer customer comes to your website and knows everything that you're talking about, like the importance of getting to common language and helping educate the buyer. Um, I think it's important to add things like glossaries and knowledge bases that can serve them along their journey. Um, and there's a lot of tools out there. What you're seeing now is
We're
Claude.
seeing Claude.
Yeah.
So I'm a user of Claude, and you're a user of Claude, but a lot of the AI advice, especially around LinkedIn and TikTok and YouTube, everybody's talking about OpenAI and their version ChatGPT. Um, can you tell us why Claude and not ChatGPT?
So I've chosen Claude, and they both have their strong suits and shortcomings. I chose Claude because it's more human like. It's more conversational in nature, and also you can give it prompts longer than any other free tool right now, like 75,000 words or something like that. Um, whereas the others can max out at like, you know, thousands. Um, And just the more the conversationalistic, aspects of it. It's just more fun for me to use. It is free, but it does have limits. Um, but since it's not as popular as ChatGPT, there's not as many, there's not nearly as many, plugins and things like that. So it's not going to be able to search, web links for you. A lot of the things that ChatGPT can do. Um, so
I really like it because you see that little attachment button. You can attach up to 10 megabytes for each file at 5 max. It's really powerful at reading PDFs and summarizing them, using them as extra knowledge for its prompts. I really encourage anyone who's exploring using AI LLMs for free, because the paid tier of ChatGPT has access to a lot of plugins that make it really powerful. But if we're talking about free tools, I really suggest you try Claude, even though we'll be crowding this well kept secret. But try Claude, you will notice the difference.
yeah, for sure. Um, so I wanted to just give a quick like walkthrough of how I would go about using Claude to help me build out a website knowledge base. Um, and again, like it's not meant to do 100% of the work for you, right? If that's why you're going to use this this tool, uh, that's the wrong way to go about it. It's it's best to assume that you need either content up front that you're going to give it and it's going to summarize and you know break it down for you, or knowing that you're going to ask it to do something, it's going to take you 50, 60, maybe 80% of the way, and you're going to take it from there. um, it's not at a point where it's going to you know say make a blog post and it's going to do the whole blog post and you're not going to be able to do anything. You're not going to have to do anything with it.
To
So
clarify, this is not only for Claude. This is for all LLMs out there.
right.
Taking the result as is and posting it is really not beneficial for anyone. Not for
Yeah.
you, not for your customers, and definitely not for the whole ecosystem that's now being flooded with AI generated fluff, for lack of a better word.
That's the right word. Yeah. So like any shiny new object, there's people, touting the ability to create so many articles and this and that, and you know, it's easy. It's easy for many to see when it's AI and when it's not. Google and the other search engines are going to take steps to weed that stuff out. Um, so yeah, like anything else, use it with the right intention, learn to use it effectively, and it's going to be really good for you. Um, so I usually like to start by confirming how Claude sees what I'm asking about. Again, even though it's all powerful, all knowing, um, I can't assume that we see things the same way or that I understand things the same way he does. Um, Again, the curse of knowledge applies even here. So I'm going to start by confirming um, the topic at hand. And for this example, I'm going to build out, a helpful website glossary and knowledge base related to analytical X-ray industry. So, hey Claude, uh, what do you know about analytical X-ray instrumentation for materials analysis and characterization. And I've not tested this prior to this, so we'll see how it goes, but he's been pretty good for me so far. And it's got a nice chat interface, which, ChatGPT was first to market with that, I think. And, everybody followed suit because it's nice. And, actually search engines like Google are going to have this kind of experience at the top of your search now. Not now, but, coming soon. And then results like they used to have on the bottom.
It's already here.
Right?
Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yep.
And that makes sense because I found myself switching to Claude when I would want to ask a question about something, just because I knew I'd be able to have the conversational experience. I'd be able to take it to the next, question and the next question. So he answers, here are a few key things to know about analytical X-ray instrumentation for materials analysis and characterization.
This is an opportunity for us to re-emphasize that if you don't know your subject matter, AI can lead you to places that are not fun. Us as humans who are prompting this AI need to be able to read the content and confirm that this content is correct, or else it's like the blind leading the blind, right?
Right. Yep. So definitely the deeper you want to go on something, and statistics is an easy place for it to get tripped up. Always look for citations and where to get the information from. That's where you have to be mindful of the kind of content you want out of it, because obviously if you have to rewrite the whole thing and that wasn't your intention, then it might be a waste of time for you. But a lot of the ideation it can provide, even if you do have to rewrite it, it's helped me find gaps in my understanding, helps me with flow, structure, all that stuff. So we've got X-rays can be used to analyze the structure and composition of materials non-destructively. Good start. X-ray diffraction, X-ray spectroscopy, X-ray imaging. So right away, for me, this is exactly what I wanted to see, that he's going to hone in on these technology, types and techniques. But also right away, Selim, do you know the difference between X-ray diffraction and X-ray spectroscopy?
I have not had the honor to work with these technologies, so no, I do not know the difference.
So right away, we're seeing terms that most people probably don't know. And these are the kinds of terms that I anticipate once I ask him for the glossary, he's gonna explain things like these. And, a common understanding is that, our customers are from this space. Why do we need to define these things? Right? They know these things. Well, your customers also have to hire people. And sometimes those people aren't from the space. So if you can provide a place for definitions and trusted understanding of the topic, now they can use your website to help train, their new people. And that's another way to give value to somebody who might not be buying an instrument right now. It's often a great way to put yourself in front of competitive users. And he actually starts to, describe some of these things here in the rest of his bullet points. So I'm going to fine tooth comb all this, but he did good enough for me. So now, since I'm going to ask him to create a knowledge base, I'm going to make sure we're aligned in the understanding of what that is. So, I'm going to ask. First, I always like to say thanks. Um, and not only do I want to be nice to the robots, it's also helpful to confirm that their answer is what you were looking for so that they know to keep drawing on it later.
And
Thanks,
also, so
Claude.
you're not the first one to go when the robots have their
Right.
uprising.
Yeah. When they uprise in like 6 months. Um, hopefully I'll be on the good side by then.
I
Thanks,
know I'm
Claude. It
not.
looks great. um, let's see. You most of the time when I'm talking about marketing stuff, it's like a concept or a framework. So, do you understand the concept of a helpful website glossary and knowledge base for buyers and customers? Sometimes I'll play around with how prescriptive I get, because I don't want to give them too much tunnel vision, right? And I'm interested in what I might not know about for the concept.
What are
Yes,
your
I
thoughts
understand.
about like everybody posting uh, 10 prompts to do X, or people asking like, "Hey, give us your best prompts." Like, getting to the point where we're stuck on specific prompts that don't give us the opportunity to have a conversation that can open up new avenues, like you just said. Like,
Everybody wants an easy button, right? Uh,
and in fact,
and
ChatSpot for HubSpot is going that route of growing a library of ready-made prompts, which slowly is turning a chat interface into another, you know, uh, normal website interface.
right. Well, I mean, there's a really good tool called AI PRM for ChatGPT that's supposed to be developed for Claude at some point. And you know, there's definitely value in not doing and not having to do the work that somebody has already done before and already figured it out. Um, but just don't let it take the place of your own learning, because I've even used those kind of prompts, and it's like what I've experimented with is using those prompts like exclusively, and then using no prompts and trying to build up to that. And not everybody has time to do that, but really, it's especially when the prompts are complex and you weren't there to make it, like, that's where you got to be careful of. Is something missing, from the information? Is there misinformation because of the way that the prompt was generated, right? um like I said, it's easy to put too many guardrails or close down the lane too much. And for me, that's been powerful to work with the information that it's giving me. Most of the time, I only know like the first couple prompts I'm going to give it. And then from there, you know, uh, using some creativity to work with what it's giving you um, has been a lot of fun for me. It's more instantaneous gratification than I could have imagined. Since I can get in my head and be a deep thinker, having just this mechanism to bounce ideas off of has been super powerful for me. Um, so he's telling us here he understands the concept. Here are a few key ways it can benefit visitors, right? And this is what I love, and maybe some of the other ones do it, but I noticed this about Claude right away. So I say, the question is, do you understand the concept of a helpful website glossary knowledge base for buyers and customers? He says, yes, I understand it. And here are a few key ways it can benefit visitors. So the way it adds on to the answer, like instead of just saying, Um, yes, glossary and knowledge base is something that defines key terms and jargon, provides background information, answers common questions, promotes self-service. Like he goes into detail, and it's helpful for me because it explains things in new ways usually that I haven't heard of, while also confirming, his understanding of the subject matter. Um, so uh, looking pretty good. And again, it just points out all the reasons that you should have one on your website, builds trust and credibility. Um, some of this is table stakes. Every little bit helps, and if it can help answer their question in the moment, it's +1 on the trust instead of -1 on the credibility, because you're not addressing a topic that every other competitor is. So in summary, an effective buyer customer glossary knowledge base empowers visitors with information to understand products better, self-serve for questions, and ultimately drive higher quality buying decisions and improved customer experience. I think we should just, bring this guy on the team, Selim. Just have him on the episode every time. Looks like he knows what he's talking about. So now that he's confirmed both what I want to create and the topic that we're talking about, I've got a prompt prepared here. And while I prepared the prompts, I have not. What's interesting is that even if I had tested this a little bit beforehand, there's no guarantee that I'd get the same answers. Because these do not have long-term memory, at least the free versions. There are tools out there that are allowing you to build up, your own database of information. But in this case, unless you're in the same chat, like he can reference earlier in the chat, but as you move across chats, he will not remember what are in those chats. Even if he tells you he will, don't believe him. Like, he can't do it. And even the longer the chat gets, the less he can remember from the beginning of the chat. So it's always good to confirm as you go. So I'd like you to draft a helpful website glossary and knowledge base for buyers and customers who may need analytical X-ray instrumentation for materials analysis and characterization. Write the definitions and explanations from the perspective of an instrument manufacturer. Be sure to include entries for commonly used acronyms like XRF. And don't forget to say thanks. That was perfect.
And we're watching this live.
Yeah.
Here goes nothing.
Here's a draft glossary. And again, like, this is a higher level thing that I would trust this tool with, because again, what is it accessing? It's accessing the internet. There are lots of glossaries that exist, but usually
to be clear, it's accessing a version of the internet, a snapshot of the internet. Yes.
Yep. The updates that you hear about, usually that's what's one of the things that's being updated. Like, I think Claude updated in middle of July, and it went up to April of this year or something like that for the snapshot in time. So here's a draft glossary and knowledge base. One of the issues I have had with Claude is getting him to be expansive and give me lots of words, right? He's comes at it from a place of being concise when possible. So it's easy to not get a lot, right? So we just started out with some terms: X-ray diffraction, X-ray fluorescence, X-ray photoelectronic spectroscopy. So,
I believe here we have two choices: either ask them for more or ask them to expand on the existing, right?
right. Yep. So let us know if you need any part of the glossary expanded on. We're also happy to provide guidance on selecting the X-ray instrumentation that best fits your materials. That sounds like it's almost pulling directly from one of the manufacturing websites, which
Yes,
is also
and
something to keep an eye on, right?
there's been a lot of cases where it pulls verbatim, not Claude specifically, but in general LLMs, and people just run with it. And just be careful. Don't
Yep,
post your competitor's copy as
exactly.
is.
Let's have them expand. Uh, that looks great. Can you give me another set of definitions of defined terms different from this first of terms? I think that's one of the keys of learning how to use these tools is understanding when to be specific and when not to be specific. Um, how much room you can give it. Because if I hadn't highlighted, I felt that if I didn't get specific with different than this group of terms, then it could have given me new definitions or different definitions for the same terms that I got the first time.
Yep.
Right. So, um, so I did get second set of terms here. So um, let me know if you need any of these defined terms expanded further. Happy to provide more details on our instrumentation options suitable for each analytical technique as well. Now, this is where I like to take it. I'll key on something he says just to see, right? Like, this is interesting. We're also happy to provide guidance on selecting the X-ray instrumentation that best fits your materials characterization needs, even if that is verbatim. I'm going to ask him to do this for me. Because that's what this is supposed to be. Like, he's supposed to be giving me information that, is helpful to me as the user. So let's see what he says. Thanks, Claude. You mentioned earlier, I always like to use exact, quotes from his earlier answers. That way it's very clear what we're asking him to do or what we're referencing. Mentioned earlier. Let's see. Can you tell me? Can you provide this guidance? No. Absolutely. Here's some tips on selecting the right X-ray instrumentation for your material analysis needs. So not only can it help you, do the thing that you're asking it to do, or the original goal, it often gives me ideas like as it does that. And, you know, um, for somebody who might not have a documented sales process or documentation around, you know, um, how to buy, or even for the sales guys, what questions to ask a new sales guy. Like these are all questions that I know sales teams ask to understand what the need is, right? And you'll find things like this, like this guide will this will guide you this will guide which x-ray techniques are most suitable. um, and uh, again, it's a start. And so when you think about how this stuff can be used, um, it's definitely more than just marketing content. And there's actually, one of the hits against using it for marketing content is that you can't replace the humanity, that you should have in content. But it's been shown and proven that knowledge bases and glossaries and how to's need to be very black and white and should not have a lot of uh, quote unquote humanity in them necessarily. So if there's anything a robot should be able to do, it's to get you a long way down the path of a knowledge base. Um, and maybe to finish this off, just to see like um, one of the other things, like, okay, so next time maybe we're going to hand this off to somebody, maybe I'm a service leader and now I have to hand this off to, the service admin who I want to finish this. All right, it's going on the right track. So, let me get this. Thank you, Claude. Can you provide me with a list of other terms without definitions that should also be included in our website knowledge base. And let's see what happens here. There we go. So again, at a very high level look, these are all like relevant terms. And so multiple ways that you can, mix and match formatting, content, get the party started, if you will. Now, somebody else that's using an AI tool, could be Claude, could be another one. You just say, hey, I need you to create a glossary of these terms. And now you just copy paste, hey, I need definitions for all these terms. Right. So multiple ways you can get these things to work for you. And this is the kind of admin stuff that I think once people realize what they can do with the tool, and now adding valuable content to the website, which is thought to be a long, arduous process because I got to write articles and I got to proof it and we got to draft it and review it over and over. Like, this is a different class, and this is a way to bring value in a short period of time.
So let's get practical. In an organization, in most industrial organizations, there are systems of checks and balances, mostly from the technical teams, around content like this. How can we bridge the gap between an organization that wants the technical team involved but also does not want to avail them to be able to be involved in these processes. So, would it be a good idea to take this list that's already here, give it to the technical team for vetting? We get a quick approval on this list. We feed it back to the AI. We get the content drafted. And instead of the technical team going through the process of thinking about what needs a definition and putting the time to drafting the content, they can instead do a quick overview and edit something they want to edit, and we're out the door. We have made a glossary that the technical team has reviewed without having the technical team write it from scratch. Is that reasonable?
It should be.
Is there a reason why every single industry cannot do this?
No, I mean, especially if you don't have, marketers or content people or even a service team. At some point, there's an expert in your organization that I guarantee you has been wanting to do this for a long time. Make it easier to answer questions that they don't like answering, that they feel that they shouldn't have to answer, right? If only we had a place on our website where people could get the information themselves. Well, now like the excuses are almost gone, because the amount of time it takes to create this list, throw it in front of the subject matter expert, confirm, hey, are these definitions that would relate to, our products and the value that we provide customers? Yep. All right, we're going to make glossary, throw it in the AI tool, make the glossary, next review session. Hey, anything ridiculous here, right? It can be done, and there's no reason, we should find many more websites without knowledge bases and glossaries. But again, I think understanding the need for a glossary would be a healthy first step for a lot of these companies.
In fact, we also shouldn't forget to run this list by sales and customer service.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, thank you, Chris. That was really, really helpful. In fact, all these conversations around LinkedIn about, the scarecrow of AI. AI is coming for everybody's jobs. In fact, this should show you that successful AI still needs a guiding hand from an expert, a human expert, to be able to deliver the right results you want. Thinking that AI is going to take your job today, that's not going to happen. But an expert that knows how to use AI to get ahead, that is a more realistic threat. So it'd be a good idea for you to do the same. Get familiar with AI. Get familiar with its shortcomings, especially hallucinations and its tendencies to pull from existing pieces of the internet, and learn how to instead use its strength and leverage its strength, where it can process a huge amount of data quickly, faster than any human can. So relegate it to tasks that make your life easier and help you focus on the human element, right?
Yes. And we should add a small disclaimer for some, a large disclaimer for others. These are public language learning models. Do not give it proprietary information if you don't want it in the public domain.
Some Samsung employee learned this a hard way. Did you know that?
I had not heard that. Hit me with that.
Some Samsung roadmap products got leaked because somebody used AI to prepare a presentation about them.
Yeah, there's so much we don't know about what's about to happen with these models. Um, and there are ways to create your own for your business, but then you gotta, I think I've heard that it's more energy intensive than Bitcoin mining, right?
Yeah.
So this is like, you
If you have
thought you
any
could,
sustainability initiatives, that's not the right way to go.
right? So all your work to just transition to the cloud, like now you need like now you might need a bunch of on-prem stuff just to
Yeah.
handle your own LLM.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so there's the legal, tons of legal questions around this, as far as understanding how it's getting the content and how it's presented, and when is it copyrightable related to image use, and there's so many things that are being understood. So again, just learn about it, understand what it does, what it doesn't do, what you can use it for, what you should use it for, what you shouldn't use it for, and you know figure out where it can be used to help you and use it for that. But that disclaimer and that example highlights the need. Once if you start using the tool, two things. If you start using the tool, you need a policy around using the tool, just like most of the other policies that you probably have around using cloud-based systems, browsers, browsing, all that stuff. But number two,
If you're a company that is big enough to have a legal team, talk to legal.
yeah, and if in that case you probably already have a policy too. Um, but number two, if you yourself as a leader or somebody from the leadership team or even the manager of a team, you might not be interested in this, but you have a staff that lives in the real world that is hearing about this stuff all the time. And just because there's no policy doesn't mean they aren't using it. So again, understand that these tools exist. And just like somebody can go use Google to help find an article for a presentation, they can now use AI very, very easily. So it's best not to, put your head in the sand on this. Educate your teams on it, and put that policy in place so that they could use the tool effectively.